All right. So for social studies today, you guys will still have an assignment on Mesopotamia. It's not a super long one at all, but because we're going to talk about 9/11, you guys are going to need to kind of take responsibility and do that assignment on your own. It's just writing a paragraph or two later, and I'll explain it after we talk about 9/11, but we're going to talk about 9/11 first, because it's an important day in history. A lot of people died. It was not a very great day. A lot of people have different experiences on that day, depending on where they were in the country or the world. I've actually never talked to anybody from a different country about their perspective on it. That'd be interesting. I have only talked to people that live in the United States, but we have a few videos that we're going to watch that just kind of go over it, and in between we can have discussions about what happened and all of that stuff. But we're going to start with a timeline, a video that goes over the timeline of that morning and what happened, just so that we're all aware of the events of the day, and then we can do a little discussion and go back and forth between the videos and the discussion. Okay? Sound good?
Are there any like quizzes for this?
No, we're not going to do any sort of assignment based on 9/11. No. Just talking about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to present my screen, and we'll watch a few videos. All right, you guys see my screen? Okay. So our first one, about 5 minutes long, just a timeline of what happened that day, just to go through the events. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Keep your mics muted, please. That way we can we don't hear like all the back and forth like echo. But here we go.
September 11, 2001. Day of grief. A day of courage. This is how that day unfolded.
My daughter called me. She said, plane just flew into the World Trade Center. I said, nah, you gotta be kidding. It's gotta be a Piper Cub or some clown was flying down the river.
At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 from Boston, with 92 aboard, traveling at a speed of 470 miles per hour, strikes the North Tower of the World Trade Center complex. Within minutes, officials coordinate the citywide emergency response. Their base of operations is a state-of-the-art command center located on the 23rd floor of 7 World Trade Center. With one tower in flames, the tragedy is only beginning. It is 9:03 when United Airlines Flight 175, with 65 aboard, traveling at the speed of 590 miles per hour, smashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. This aircraft strikes the corner of the South Tower. It rips a diagonally shaped gash from the 84th to the 78th floors. The South Tower lasts only 56 minutes before it succumbs at 9:59 a.m. The dust cloud billows outward for blocks. Victims stagger away. At 10:28, the television mast atop the North Tower spears straight down.
Once the collapse started, there really wasn't any way to stop it. It's just going to go all the way down once it got started.
Chaos in New York City. Power is down in Lower Manhattan. Phone lines jammed with more than 230 million calls. Hundreds of firefighters trapped in the towers. Hundreds more race to the scene. Falling debris from the collapse of the north and south towers ignites fires in the neighboring buildings of the World Trade Center. World Trade 4, 5, and 6 are ablaze. World Trade 7, the building housing the city's command center, burns unchecked for 7 hours. At 5:20, it collapses. The city's emergency nerve center is destroyed.
Somewhere in that time, and it's very hard to keep track of time during this, they had been ordered to evacuate number 7 by the Port Authority. To this day, we don't know who gave that order, but whoever it was saved a lot of people's lives.
With New York a war zone, some residents walk across the Brooklyn Bridge to get out of the city. Others seek escape in vessels piloted by the Army Corps of Engineers. At 7:45 p.m., the New York Police Department says 78 officers are missing and estimates that 200 firefighters are dead. At 10:56 p.m., police officials say they believe there are victims alive in the rubble of the World Trade Center.
Working with urban search and rescue teams, there was a lot of areas to be searched underneath the debris field. There were voids that had to be searched for possible live people.
September 11th, 2001, the longest and most tragic day in New York's history, is drawing to a close.
Oh, don't play. All right, so that's only 2 of the planes, because there were 4. One of them, Dallin already talked about one of them. It went down in a field. It was from Flight 93. The third one, or where did the third one hit? Was it Pentagon? It hit the Pentagon, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the one that went down in a field, it was believed that it was heading towards the White House, if I have read things correctly. That's what Mr. Turner's nodding as well. It was a sad day. I was only 6 years old, so I don't really remember it. So I was younger than you guys were or are right now. So I was in about 1st grade, and I really don't remember a lot of it. I remember my mom picked me up and I went home, and that's really about it. Not a whole lot happened for me personally, just because I lived on the other side of the country too. So New York is on the East Coast, right? I lived up in Washington State, which is on the full other side of the country. So everybody over there and everybody that wasn't in New York or in the surrounding areas was just watching it on TV and hearing about it on the radio and things like that. So everybody experienced that day very differently. You guys have any questions or anything?
I do.
What's your
I'm
question?
part of it.
I was not born until that day. That's my question.
Tyler, we're not joking about this today, please. Why did they do it? That's a good question. I don't know the answer about why it happened.
Those people were people that don't care about, like, if they die, they just care about other people dying.
Yeah, so it was people, just some very radical people that decided that they wanted to attack us. Terrorism is a hard thing to pinpoint why they do it. It's very difficult to say the exact reason, but the people that drove those planes and hijacked the planes, they're basically called like suicide bombers almost. Like their intention is to die that day. So yeah, Dylan.
They also found the guy who sent them, Osama bin Laden.
Yes, he's been
And
by now. Yeah.
they also found, like, that was like before that. After that, and then they also found a few months ago, actually a while ago, they found his son and they killed him too.
I hadn't heard about his son, but I know that they got Osama bin Laden. He's the one that kind of led the attacks on the U.S. Yeah. But that's, yeah, that was quite the day. Any other questions? You want to watch the second video or just go right for the second one? Charlie?
I couldn't watch all of it. Because I just
No.
got here
Oh,
halfway
sorry.
through the video.
Sorry. It's all. I'm recording it. If you want to go watch it later as well, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So we have this second video. This one's about 6 minutes long. It's just kind of a tribute. Mrs. Mills sent it to us all. So I have not actually seen it. And it has some survivor accounts.
First for all of us.
Yeah. She said that it has some news stories. It also has some people that survived that day, and they're giving their stories as well. So this could be pretty interesting. So go ahead and mute your mics so we don't get the back and forth feedback. And here we go.
For it being a beautiful day, normally I had to get up early.
Start it over. There we go.
I woke up, remember it being a beautiful day, normally I had to get up early, so I slept in.
And I just remember thinking, it's a really nice day out. I
was actually deployed with the United States Marine Corps at the time.
I remember the exact
We
outfit
pulled
I
in,
wore that
sitting in my boss's office installing a software
conference. So I went up to the library.
September 11th changed my life entirely. Hi, my name is Glenn Beck. I was born just outside of Seattle.
I'm Rich Hudson from Lake Forest, Illinois.
My name is Jared Root. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
My name is Ashanti. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and this is what I remember.
I'm from the small West Texas town of Abilene,
My name
Texas.
is Doma. I'm from Plano, Texas, and this is what I
My
remember.
name is Sean, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and this is what I remember about 9/11.
Miles and miles of sunshine. Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like
It
quiet.
is beautiful outside. Perfect September day with lots of sunshine. Oh, would you look at Washington, huh? I'm going outside. September 11th, 2001.
Morning, 64 degrees at 8:40 on this Tuesday, September 11th. Thousands of New Yorkers will head to the polls today to cast ballots for mayor and a host of other city offices on primary day.
American 11 respond to me now.
Monitoring
That's like concerning,
with
right?
Flight 11. The flight attendant is advising our reps that the pilot, everyone's been stabbed.
Nobody move. Everything was okay.
That there's someone in the cockpit that's taken over.
We have no idea where it's going.
The plane's in a rapid descent. The hijackers are in the cockpit. Wait, I think we might have lost your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
Lieutenant General reports that there was a fire at the World Trade Center. I understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan.
A plane has crashed into the World Trade Center in New York, 8:52.
Lots of thick black smoke coming from the top of the World Trade Center. It looks like the plane struck about quarters of the way up, maybe a little higher.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
I was on the job about 5 months. I'm a firefighter for a local city. And I just heard on the radio going to another station that an airplane ran into an entrance.
And my mom went through the bathroom. She said, Sean,
My father woke me up and said, hey, get out here. There's something on the news. And
We're sitting there going through our lessons for the day. She goes, a plane just flew through the World Trade
On the
Center.
televisions, and it was all over the
I remember
news.
looking up on the screen as soon as I walked in the door and seeing smoking buildings.
it appeared to be an accident to me. I was supposed to be on the 82nd floor for 9 o'clock meeting. World Trade Center and 60. And every available ambulance, everything you got to the World Trade Center now.
Something weird is going on. The World Trade Center is on fire.
Turn on the TV, and as soon as we turn on the TV,
looked at the TV, and that's when the second plane hit. I remember watching the second plane hit the second time.
Holy.
oh my God!
Wall of flame so big I couldn't believe it. It actually
God.
in your face.
That looks like a second plane. Another plane hit. And that's when I was like, crap, this has to be an attack.
And another plane comes in and hits the other tower. Where? No, come on, back up.
The second one hit. I just remember thinking this was an accident.
Second plane hit.
American Airlines can't hit the tower.
Peel.
Second plane flew through the second tower. And that's when I realized this was different.
We both just kind of looked at each other and said, things are going to change from here on out. Things are not going to be the same. This isn't going to be the same country that we used to.
Other people jumping out of the building. It's horrible. All these people are just jumping because they're on fire. Oh, park. I just wiped it on the 82nd floor. There's a lot of people in there. Scared I've ever been in my whole life.
Have you made it back down to the lobby yet? The elevator school. I've got engine people up here on 70. I only one car. I need to put an escort to the hospital for 5 minutes.
Everybody was in a panic. People were crying. People didn't quite know what to do. We were like, okay, what is going on?
Just remembering the panic and confusion in media.
I was thinking, man, what is this going to mean for my son?
We had family that worked in the city. Couldn't get through to
You see
anybody.
people sitting down just crying. I just knew that was what I wanted to do in that moment, was get a hold of my son and hang on.
And she's explaining to us that the Pentagon had just been hit. That there were multiple attacks in New York City and D.C.
When the plane hit the Pentagon. Well, we have another report of a plane down in Pennsylvania.
There is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon.
Just got more serious and more serious and more serious.
Yeah, pieces flying out, papers.
I realized that we were attacked. That has never happened. One of us were packing and trying to get home and just figure out the day. How are we going to recover? I think the freakiest thing out of that whole week or two was every time you'd leave your house, you'd look up and there were no planes.
The captain of the ship bowed to the Marine commander. He went up there and gave a speech that I will never forget for the rest of my life. And he goes, gentlemen and ladies, December 7th, 1941 was the day of memory for my father and for all your grandfathers. Today, the world will know that September 11th, 2001 is your day of memory.
All right. So, not really an appropriate question. I mean, both years are not good. Okay? We can't really compare it. But those kinds of videos are really hard to watch. It's hard to see what happens on those days and hear people's stories about it. But yeah, those are the two videos that we're going to watch. We only have a few minutes left. You guys have any questions or anything? No? I don't really have much
I'm
else.
going on a trip today.
Where are you going?
Las Vegas.
Cool.
I wonder if they did that just to make the U.S. mad or upset.
I mean, we went to war. Was it before or after that? We went to war right after that. So there was a lot of tension building, and then right after that, we went to war with the Middle East and Iraq and Iran and all of that stuff. So, yeah.
They also, a few months ago when I was in 5th grade, we were doing current events, and I remember it was like, I was on the news, and all I see is that they found another leader that was planning to do something like that again, over in like Iran or something, the king of ISIS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, terrorism isn't really over. I don't know exactly when it will or if it will. It's unfortunate that it has to be a thing, but there's just gotta.
That's why we have armies and stuff. That's why we have armies to protect our countries.
Yep, that's the hope that we get protected, right? But
yeah.
What's that to watch?
I want to join the Air Force when I'm older.
That would be cool. I know someone in the Air Force.
And be like either a test pilot or a pilot.
That'd be very cool. Be like Top Gun.
I wanted to be in the Marines.
That's cool. I know someone in the Marines. Pretty good friends with them. I don't know much about it.
My dad has a friend that's a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our armies are there to protect us, but there's things now in place in terms of like flights and stuff. A lot more regulations have gone into place since that day. That's why when you go through the airport, there's all kinds of security to go through. You have to take off your shoes, and everything goes through the metal detectors and stuff like that. Like, you got a lot of fingers.
my grandpa and I think his brother, one of them, they both served in the Army, and I have an uncle that served in the Air Force.
Very cool. They're pretty cool to go into. You get a lot of benefits.
One of them, the only one, so I know my grandpa was a builder and my uncle was a spy.
Very cool.
I had a uncle in the Marines.
Yeah. Felicia's saying that her mom's coworker survived one of the towers. Was it one of the towers? That would be a good story to tell. Yeah. That's a story that's gonna stay with that person forever. It's things like that, like being near that area. I'm sure the people that were in New York that day or in the surrounding areas, like in New Jersey, like you're just outside of New York, have stories of that day that are just crazy and how they experienced it.
My mom told me she remembered it on seeing it on the news that morning.
That's how most people remember it, I think, hearing it on the radio or seeing it on the news because they weren't physically in New York to see it happening. But a lot of people are affected by that day in terms of they knew someone who was there, someone who maybe died in the towers or on the plane. And yeah.
I think there's a video of when the president was in a classroom and all of a sudden he just gets a call saying, like he was in a classroom talking to kids and all of a sudden he just had a call saying that the twin were under attack and and all of that.
That did happen. Yeah, he was reading to a class of like third graders or something like that.
Something like that.
And he was told and they left right away to go deal with it. So yeah.
See, like stuff like that, you wouldn't even know what that happened until someone told you.
Yeah.
Like those teachers probably didn't even know what happened then.
Yeah, I don't know how. That's why we have people that do this that aren't me. Because I don't know how you as like the leader of a country deal with something like that. Like how you have to put all of that weight on your shoulders to figure out what happened and how to handle the effects of it. It's a lot of pressure. But I know that some of you guys have lunch to go to, those of you that are upstairs. So if you're looking at my screen, the assignment that I want you guys to do, it may maybe take you 10 minutes. You don't need to go into too much detail. So I posted it under social studies. It's called the Standard of Writing Prompt. So you'll open it up. Each of you have your own copy. The question that you just need to answer is, how can the Standard of which is the artwork that we looked at yesterday, how can it teach us more about life in ancient Mesopotamia? And if that still confuses you, there's more directions right here. That's basically just write 2 to 3 paragraphs about what life in ancient Mesopotamia was like. Bye. You can use any notes, PowerPoints, or work, but just underneath here, write me 2 to 3 paragraphs about what you think ancient Mesopotamia life would have been like. And just turn that in once you've written your 2 to 3 paragraphs.
Do I need to turn in my Mesopotamia River Valley chart in?
Bye. No, Charlie, I have it. Bye, guys.
Bye, Miss
So I
Jones.
need to turn it in?
Well, I already checked it. It's graded, so you can click turn in if you want to, but.
Okay.
All right. Alrighty.